The last supergroup of eukaryotes is Unikonta, and this has two kingdoms that you're familiar with. So there's the fungal kingdom right here, and then the animal kingdom. That's you. And this is made up of two sister groups. So these are both monophyletic. We have this group right here, which is called the amoebozoans, which is what we're going to talk about today. And then we've got this group here, which is the opisthocants. And we'll talk about these individuals when we get to fungus and animals. So these amoebozoans are grouped together based off of genetics, but also based off of this body shape where they get this name. So the word amoeba is not a clade. Right? Amoebas are not a clade. Amoeba describes a type of body shape and movement. So all of these amoebas are going to have some kind of pseudopod, right, that's able to reach out, and this kind of very slow creeping movement, which is called amoeboid movement. So they have these either tube-shaped, as they do here, or thread-like. Some of the ones in SAR have thread-like pseudopodia. So this is not a clade. There were amoebas back in the SAR supergroup as well. But this amoebozoan group includes some molds, tubulinids, and entamoebas. The first group are the slime molds. So these are originally have thought to be a fungus because they can produce a fruiting body and actually release spores to spread themselves. But after looking at them further, they are not a fungus. They are a protist. The plasmodials these have two body forms, the plasmodial body form and a cellular slime mold. So plasmodial body forms create this kind of spread out appearance, and this is actually an aggregate, so these are all connected. And the cytoplasm can flow throughout these body forms, and they're able to share nutrients, and they take up nutrients from their environment. When their environment dries up or becomes hostile, they switch into this fruiting body. So they kind of conglomerate into this one big cellular body where they create spores and release those spores to go to a different environment. Some of these slime molds can create these multicellular aggregates like this guy down here. And not only do these aggregates kind of feed together, they work together to actually move. So instead of having to create spores to go to a new environment, all of these cells can kind of glom together and physically move to a different environment. And sometimes this gets me thinking about, so each of these cells has to still feed individually, but they can group together to move as if they're one organism. You kind of have to ask yourself the question of, what does it mean to be an individual organism? Does it mean the ability to function as a colony, kind of like this? Or does it truly have to be multicellular? The other groups in here, there are the tubulinids. So our tubulinids are right here. These are kind of our typical amoeba shape. So these are going to have these little tubular pseudopods, which is where they get the name tubulinid. And those pseudopods reach out, and then the cytoplasm can stream into those, and that's how it's going to move. These are going to actively move around. They eat bacteria and other protists. So here's my bacterial cell. They would then engulf that with their pseudopods, bring it into their cell, and then digest it. Another group of amoebas are called the entamoebas, and these are typically parasites, and these can infect all different classes of vertebrates and even some invertebrates. One that is a parasite of humans is called Entamoeba histolytica, and this causes dysentery and is one of the leading causes of death due to eukaryotic parasites, protists.